In the ancient, storied land of Babylon, scholars and rulers alike directed their analytical gaze upward, seeking to decode celestial patterns with rigorous precision. The art and science of Babylonian astrology emerged as a formalized discipline where observations were meticulously recorded and interpreted, forming an integral basis for governmental decision-making and societal planning. This narrative embarks on a comprehensive exploration of omens, predictions, and their direct impact on political dynamics, highlighting how divine order intermingled with human affairs. The Babylonian world, you posited that the heavens operated under immutable laws, and that astronomical events were imbued with predetermined meanings. In this framework, every lunar eclipse, planetary conjunction, and irregular celestial occurrence was not merely recorded as an event, but quantitatively analyzed to forecast earthly outcomes. Astute scholars, armed with early mathematical techniques and empirical data collection methods, connected patterns in the sky with corresponding terrestrial events. This early form of data analytics not only influenced immediate political decisions, including military campaigns and public policy, but also laid the groundwork for subsequent scientific methods in astronomy and astrology. The discussion that follows provides an in-depth analysis enriched with technical insights and number-driven assessments, revealing how Babylonian astrology transcended myth to become a precursor to modern predictive science. By probing the systematic processes behind celestial omen interpretation, we uncover a sophisticated intellectual legacy that continues to inform contemporary scientific inquiry into the cosmos. Babylonian civilization, rooted in the heart of Mesopotamia, was a crucible of scientific thought and cultural synthesis. This period witnessed the convergence of intricate record-keeping practices, mathematical innovations, and astronomical observations that collectively defined the era's intellectual vigor. In an environment where statecraft and religious ritual were mutually reinforcing, the Babylonians developed methods for precise astronomical tracking. They computed the periodic movements of the moon, the fluctuating visibility of stars, and the cyclical patterns of planetary bodies with remarkable accuracy. Historical records indicate that rulers invested significantly in royal libraries and observatories, where elite scholars painstakingly inscribed celestial phenomena on clay tablets. These tablets, replete with notations of planetary cycles and episodic events such as eclipses, reveal that Babylonian society operated on a dual agenda. One of empirical observation coupled with theological interpretation. The integration of astrology with daily governance was emblematic of a broader attempt to merge divine influence with administrative acumen. Rituals, ceremonial sacrifices, and state-sponsored festivals were timed in accordance with the predicted positions of celestial bodies. Underscoring an enduring belief in the universe's deterministic order, elaborate mathematical tables and calendrical systems were devised to reconcile the irregularities in lunar and solar motions, illustrating a sophisticated blend of theoretical and applied sciences. The cultural fabric of Babylon was enriched by this union, as scholars and priests collaboratively cultivated an intellectual tradition that balanced empirical data with metaphysical speculation. In this context, the analytical treatment of omens not only served ritual and divination purposes, but also enhanced the pragmatic governance of a vast and diverse empire. The Babylonian approach to celestial omens was characterized by an unparalleled depth of observation and a commitment to systematic recording. Every astronomical phenomenon, from the predictable cycles of the moon to the sporadic appearances of comets, was assigned a specific interpretative significance. Babylonian astronomers categorized omens using a sophisticated framework where each event was cross-referenced with established symbolic narratives. For instance, a lunar eclipse was not merely an isolated event, but a portent with a stratified meaning. Its occurrence during different phases of the lunar cycle was statistically correlated. with distinct outcomes such as civil unrest, famine, or even the destabilization of established power structures. The meticulous nature of these observations is further demonstrated by the detailed records that include not only the timing and duration of events, but also precise locational data in relation to the zodiac. Advanced mathematical computations were sometimes employed to predict recurring phenomena, and any anomalous patterns often triggered in-depth analyses that sought to decode variations in expected predictions. These practices suggest that Babylonian astrologers functioned with an early form of algorithmic logic. The integration of quantitative data with qualitative interpretation led to predictions that were inherently probabilistic rather than strictly deterministic. This nuanced understanding allowed for the articulation of omens that could reflect both aggregate patterns and isolated deviations in celestial behavior. Consequently, political leaders and societal elites relied on these interpretations to guide decisions. The close coupling of the celestial with the terrestrial in Babylonian thought reflects a world in which divinity and empiricism were inseparable, rendering the heavens a complex oracle that communicated a multifaceted narrative. At the heart of Babylonian astrological tradition lies the Enuma Anu Enlil, a monumental compendium that codified thousands of celestial events and their corresponding terrestrial interpretations. This extensive text represents a pinnacle of ancient scholarly endeavor, in which each astronomical occurrence was assigned a precise classification, based on parameters such as time of day, positional attributes, and contextual relevance to the zodiac. In an era devoid of modern computational tools, the Babylonian method of systematically documenting celestial phenomena is a testament to their advanced observational techniques and mathematical ingenuity. For example, when a lunar eclipse occurred, its precise timing within the lunar cycle and its duration were scrutinized meticulously. Numerical tables were employed to correlate these events with impending social and political changes, such as rebellions or natural disasters. The Enuma Anu Enlil also provided a complex interlinking of planetary alignments with the fates of kings and the security of cities. Specific sequences of alignments involving Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars were calculated with an accuracy that, for its time, paralleled modern ephemeris models. Moreover, the text reveals that Babylonian astrologers utilized a binary system of observational variables, cataloging not only the occurrence of an event but also its qualitative aspects such as brightness, color, and motion. This dual approach of empirical recording and symbolic interpretation underscores a methodological dualism. One eye fixed on numerical precision, the other on the interpretative frameworks provided by religious and cultural dogma. In a statistics-driven manner, the compendium correlates atypical celestial signatures with discrete outcomes, thus functioning as a predictive database that was consulted consistently by the ruling class. The Enuma Anu Enlil's influence extended far beyond its immediate cultural context, disseminating a template for the later developments in Greek and Hellenistic astronomy, and eventually seeding methodologies that underpin contemporary astronomical data collection and interpretation. Within the political landscape of ancient Babylon, astrology served as an indispensable instrument for governance, where the interplay between celestial omens and statecraft was both profound and pragmatic. Astute astrologers were not relegated to peripheral advisory roles. They occupied a central position in the administrative hierarchy, often acting as chief consultants to monarchs and high officials. Their interpretations of complex astronomical data provided insights that went beyond mere superstition, contributing to strategic decisions that could alter the fate of the empire. Detailed analyses of planetary cycles and eclipse records were employed to determine the most auspicious moments for military campaigns, diplomatic engagements, and even economic reform. Astrological predictions underpinned by a systematic evaluation of celestial events, were regarded as reliable indicators of upcoming trends in public sentiment, resource abundance, and potential threats. From both internal insurgencies and external adversaries, rigorous quantitative methods, including the assessment of frequency distributions of eclipses and rare astronomical events, lent a scientific veneer to what might otherwise be considered esoteric divination. For example, when statistical probabilities indicated a high likelihood of an eclipse. Under specific conditions, the ruling authorities would adjust their policy decisions accordingly, often postponing critical actions until more favorable omens were recorded. Moreover, the integration of astrology with legal and administrative systems fostered an environment where cosmic order was directly mapped onto human order. This effectively transformed celestial phenomena into a form of a cosmic governance, where every aberration in the heavens was meticulously translated into actionable intelligence. Consequently, the political strategies of Babylon were not solely reliant on battlefield prowess or economic strength, but were also significantly shaped by the interpretive frameworks derived from astronomical events. The result was a state apparatus that not only valued historical precedents, but also continually adapted to the predictive insights offered by its comprehensive astrological records. Beyond the realms of statecraft and warfare, Babylonian astrology found critical application in the everyday administration of societal welfare. The precision with which celestial events were recorded allowed agricultural planners to establish highly refined calendars that optimized the timing of sowing and harvesting. Statistical correlations between lunar phases and seasonal flooding provided empirical support for irrigation schedules, thereby reducing crop failure risks. These practices extended into public health protocols as well. Society benefited from anticipatory measures against disease outbreaks, which were predicted through careful observation of astronomical anomalies. By integrating celestial omens with practical data, Babylonian scholars developed a holistic system that promoted community resilience and ensured that the lives of ordinary citizens were safeguarded against both natural and man-made adversities. The meticulous alignment of social welfare measures with astrological predictions allowed civic leaders to mobilize resources efficiently, at times averting potential disasters by initiating precautionary actions. Informed by the calculated likelihood of adverse celestial events, the methodological framework developed by Babylonian astrologers represents an early convergence of empirical science and symbolic reasoning. Through rigorous procedures, scholars recorded detailed observational data ranging from the exact timing and duration of eclipses to the computed angular separations between key celestial bodies. This systematic approach was complemented by a parallel process of symbolic interpretation. Each recorded event was analyzed within a predefined set of variables, ensuring that numerical data could be translated into prognostic statements with considerable precision. The dual methodology ensured that predictions, although rooted in metaphysical premises, were supported by reproducible observational evidence. This integration of empirical measurement with interpretative constructs laid the intellectual foundation for later scientific inquiry into astronomical phenomena, positioning Babylonian astrology as a proto-disciplinary precursor to modern scientific methodology. The legacy of Babylonian astrology extends through millennia, influencing successive cultures and laying critical groundwork for modern astronomical sciences. Its codified methodologies, as exemplified by seminal texts like the Enuma Anu Enlil, established paradigms of systematic observation and standardized interpretation. that would be emulated and refined by Egyptian, Greek, and later Western scholars. These civilizations inherited not only the empirical record-keeping practices but also the philosophical conviction that the cosmos operates on predictable, quantifiable laws. The Babylonian system demonstrated that celestial phenomena, when subjected to rigorous statistical analysis and methodical categorization, could offer predictive insights that were valuable in both the scientific and political realms. This enduring influence is evident in the evolution of ephemerides, mathematical astronomy, and even modern forecasting techniques that rely on pattern recognition and probability theory. Contemporary research in astrophysics and predictive analytics can trace conceptual roots back to the Babylonian emphasis on correlating observational data with systemic outcomes. Moreover, the integrated nature of Babylonian astrology, where religion, science, and governance intersected, highlights an intellectual tradition that prized both empirical precision and metaphysical inquiry. As modern scholars grapple with the dual demands of data integrity and interpretive nuance, the Babylonian approach offers a historical model of holistic analysis. In conclusion, the profound interplay between celestial observation and earthly affairs in Babylon not only fueled statecraft and communal resilience in antiquity, but also paved the way for a legacy of analytical inquiry that continues to inform our understanding of the universe. This comprehensive narrative, replete with detailed methodologies and fact-driven analyses, reinforces the notion that the ancient art of omen interpretation was a sophisticated, multifaceted enterprise, one that has indelibly shaped the trajectory of human intellectual progress. The legacy of Babylonian astrology extends through millennia, influencing successive cultures and laying critical groundwork for modern astronomical sciences. Its codified methodologies, as exemplified by seminal texts like the Enuma Anu Enlil, established paradigms of systematic observation and standardized interpretation